Hello, and welcome to Now You're Cooking with Gas. This video is about buffing damage, which, like any other attribute, this method could be used to affect them as well. However, mistakes were made last video. At the end of the last video where we added critical hits on headshots, you can see in the log and on screen that every hit is showing the 5 damage from the UE log message in the output log. But there are also 2 print messages showing 5 damage each. This was because the GE damage has both the set by caller section here, which is adding to the end damage value, and also has an execution calculation class, so the damage calculation. So what it's doing basically is that this is applying some damage, and then the damage calculation is also running, and that applies the damage. So what we can do to fix that is we can add a calculation modifier. This will be set up just like the above, set by caller, with a tag name of damage set by caller. And then we can remove the one that's up here. So now there's only the one message coming in that's doing damage. All right, so I'm going to go back to the code. There are a lot of damage buffing systems across a lot of games. In this example, I'm going to use 3 terms. First of all, we have base damage, which would be the damage that an attack or an ability can do. And then we have the damage add, which is a flat value that would be added to that base damage. And then we have a damage multi, which is multiplied against the base damage plus the added damage. This is how the gameplay ability system is made to work using gameplay effects. So first thing I'm going to do is add a print log message. So this effectively does the same thing as print in Blueprints. It's gengine add on-screen debug message. It's 2 seconds, we're making the text red, and we're sending along a string. In this case, we're just sending the same information we sent to that log, but it'll show up on screen and red. With that set, we're going to add 2 new attributes. So these attributes will be for damage add and damage multi. Adding these is the same as any of the other ones we've added. We're going to set the default values to 0 for the add and 1 for the multi, because this damage multi will always be applied. So a base value of 1 means that it's not going to change the damage until we've done something to it. We need to add the usual rep functionality. And then we'll compile that and go back in the editor. Right now, when we go back into GE damage, we can add 2 more of these calculation modifiers. Both of them will be set up very similarly. First will be an add attribute type for the damage add. The second will be a multiplier for the attribute damage multi. So we can test that by adding 2 more gameplay effects for adding the damage. So I have a buff damage add here. It's infinite duration, and this is just setting a value of 10 for the damage add. For the damage multi, we're going to set that value. It's going to be a multiplier of 2.0. To get those on the player, we can add more pickups. So I have another pickup, which is just applying each of these new gameplay effects. So damage add, and there's a second one, which is damage pickup. I've already placed these in the level. We have the 3 at the back here are the damage add, 3 over here are the damage multi. So if we go in here, we show debug for the ability system. You can see when I pick up the damage add that it shows up on the left there. The reason why it shows up is because it's not an instant gameplay effect. If it were instant, it would just affect the value directly, so the base value, and then it would be adding this damage add value to it, and that would be the end result. The reason why it shows up is because it has a duration. When you create it and add it, you can keep that gameplay effect around. For example, if you were using a piece of armor, when you equip it, you apply a gameplay effect. When you unequip it, the gameplay effect that you had maintained, effectively a handle to, you can then remove it there. So as you can see here, pick up the other 2, and it's adding another 10 and 10. For the damage multis, we have one here. The damage multi is 2.0. So you have your base your base multiplier of 1, multiplying it by 2, and it's 2. So you might expect that if I pick up another one, it will become 4. However, it's 3. So the reason why this is because the multiplier of 2, to look at it a different way, is actually adding 100%. So it starts at 1 and it adds 100%, which is 1. The end result is 2. Add the other multiplier, and it adds another 100%. Same thing, so this one will become a 4 once you pick up that one. So lastly, if you attack, the original damage is here, and the output log will show the damage. The damage is still 5. So the reason why that is because we go back into the damage calc. And this is the difference between getting a set by color magnitude through this method versus getting the captured attribute. So this function is basically taking the result of all the damage calculation math, effectively, that was applied to any given attribute and giving that value here. So this one is just getting the set by color magnitude. So what we need to do is convert it to the other type. Now when we run it, you can see that we're doing the 5 damage. We add 10 damage to it. It becomes 15. We add the multiplier of 2.0. Becomes 30. We get another multiplier. It's actually 3.0, so 15 times 3 is 45. Add another 10 base damage. So the base damage went from 15 to 25. And it's a 3 multiplier. So 75, except in that case it crit. So 75. Or if we do a headshot, 1.5 times the 75. So to reiterate, that there are a lot of different types of damage buffing systems. This is effectively the built-in way that the gas system is doing changes to attributes. You have your base damage, you have the damage add that you can have any number of gameplay effects that are basically all being added together to the base damage. With no other changes, all of the multipliers will effectively be add it together in that slightly weird way, and that will give you the end result. However, if what you really wanted was a system where if you were wearing a piece of gear, or if you had a talent or whatever else, and it added 20%, increased damage, and there were other ones that also had around the same amount, 20, 30, whatever percent damage, and you want all of those values to be multiplied together, one way to do that is that as long as you have a different attribute for each of those values, you can set it up so that they all get multiplied together instead of all of the, effectively the increases all just get added together into one big multiplier. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked the video and you would like to see more, you know what to do. If you have suggestions on future content or abilities you would like to see, let me know down below.